Donald Trump joined one of the world's most popular podcasters, Joe Rogan, for a 3-hour conversation over the weekend.
They weren't originals. We could go into this stuff. We could go into the ballots or we could go into the overall. Well, what I'd rather do is we'll do it another time, and I would bring in papers that you would not believe. So many different papers.
Did you know that according to Trump, 21 million people illegally crossed the border during Biden's administration? Wow, that's a lot of people. Too bad it's about as real as Trump's natural hair color. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now, back to the video. In this video, we're tackling 32 of Trump's wildest claims from his Joe Rogan interview.
Donald Trump joined one of the world's most popular podcasters, Joe Rogan, for a 3-hour conversation over the weekend. The two talked about everything from life on Mars to Trump's false claims on election fraud.
It's like a fact-checking extravaganza, only instead of confetti, we're throwing truth bombs. Get ready to have your mind blown by how far from reality some of these claims are. Remember when Trump bragged about building 570 miles of wall? It's like he thinks we're all living in his own personal Minecraft server. But hold on to your MAGA hats, folks, because we're about to take a wild ride into Trump land. So Trump's claim of building 570 miles of wall sounds pretty impressive, right?
So the wall, we built hundreds of miles of wall, more than I said I was going to be doing. And these characters took over. And I said, you know, something's going on. They're not putting up the wall.
It's like he single-handedly built the Great Wall of America or something. But here's the thing. Official government data is giving us some serious side-eye on this one. Turns out, Trump's wall-building skills are about as real as his natural hair color. I mean, we all know that luminous orange glow isn't coming from a bottle labeled totally not fake tan. But let's break down the numbers, shall we? The boring truth is that only 458 miles were actually built, not 570. Oops, looks like someone needs a new calculator, or maybe just a reality check. But wait, it gets even better. Most of what was built wasn't even new wall, it was just replacing old barriers. Talk about a renovation project gone wild. It's like Trump promised us a brand new mansion, but just repainted the garden shed instead.
We took out billions because I considered it an invasion of our country. It was very easy. We were ready to do that. We ordered 200 miles. It was ready to be thrown up. It could have been thrown up in 3 to 4 weeks.
I guess in Trump's world, slapping a fresh coat of paint on something old counts as new and improved. And get this, a lot of the new wall was built in areas where there were already natural barriers, you know, like mountains and rivers, because apparently, Trump thinks immigrants are secretly training to be Olympic athletes. Oh, no, a mountain. I guess we'll have to turn back now, said no determined border crosser ever. So Trump's big, beautiful wall turned out to be more like a mediocre fence repair job. It's like promising your kids a trip to Disneyland and then taking them to the local mini golf course instead. Look, kids, it's Mickey Mouse. Dad, that's just a guy in a rat costume. But hey, at least Trump is consistent in one thing, making stuff up. He's like that friend who always exaggerates their stories. Yeah, I totally caught a fish this big. Sure, Jan, we believe you.
We got it done, and then I said, let's add 200 miles, because there were certain areas. You know, it's interesting when you add wall here, but we were sued a lot, and we got hundreds of miles of wall built.
In the end, Trump's wall claims are about as solid as a sandcastle at high tide. But you've got to hand it to him. He sure knows how to sell a fantasy. Maybe he should have stuck to real estate after all. At least then, when he said he built something, there might actually be a building to show for it. So next time you hear Trump boasting about his wall building prowess, just remember, in Trumpland, 458 is the new 570, and a fence facelift is the same as a brand new wall.
One of the reasons we did have the great success is because I got the wall built. I was building wall at levels that nobody had ever seen. They said has to be steel, has to have, have to be able to see through it, etc., etc. And this is a combination of steel, concrete, and then rebar.
It's alternative math for an alternative reality. From wall building to vote stealing, Trump's got more tall tales than a library's fiction section. But here's a brain teaser for you. What do you call it when a sore loser files over 60 lawsuits and still can't prove fraud? In Trumpland, they call it Tuesday. Folks, grab your popcorn and put on your tinfoil hats, cause we're diving into Trump's favorite bedtime story.
Because you said over and over again that you were robbed in 2020.
Yeah, totally. They weren't originals. We could go into this stuff. We could go into the ballots or we could go into the overall.
The tale of the stolen election. According to our favorite orange storyteller, the 2020 election was rigged, robbed, and stolen. It's like he's describing the plot of Ocean's 11, but with less George Clooney and more angry tweets. But hold on to your MAGA hats, because here comes the plot twist that'll make your head spin faster than Trump's excuses.
Well, what I'd rather do is we'll do it another time, and I would bring in papers that you would not believe. So many different papers. They wouldn't give access in certain areas to the ballots because the ballots weren't signed.
Turns out Trump's own Attorney General Bill Barr said there was no evidence of widespread fraud. Talk about an awkward Thanksgiving dinner conversation. It's like your dad telling you Santa isn't real, except in this case, Santa is voter fraud and your dad is, well, Bill Barr. But wait, there's more. Those Republican-led investigations in swing states, they found bupkis too. That's right, even Trump's own team couldn't find the fraud he was yapping about. It's like accusing your dog of eating your homework, only to remember you don't have a dog nor homework. And now here's where it gets really juicy.
If you take a look at Wisconsin, they virtually admitted that the election was rigged. Let's start on the top and the easy ones.
Okay.
They were supposed to get legislative approval.
Trump and his merry band of conspiracy theorists filed over 60 lawsuits trying to prove fraud. Spoiler alert, they lost more than 50 of them. That's more L's than a kindergarten spelling bee. It's like Trump was playing legal whack-a-mole, but instead of moles, it was just his ego popping up and getting smacked down over and over again. But hey, maybe Trump's onto something with his suggestion to go back to paper ballot.
That election was so crooked. It was the most crooked election. By law, they had to get legislative approvals. You don't have to go any further than that.
Oh wait, what's that? Over 90% of election jurisdictions already used paper ballots in 2020? Well, slap my ballot and call me a voter. Looks like Trump's brilliant idea was about as groundbreaking as suggesting we start using wheels for transportation. Now, let's talk numbers. Cause Trump loves his big numbers. An Associated Press review found fewer than 475 cases of voter fraud across 6 battleground states that Trump lost. That's not even enough people to fill a high school gymnasium, let alone swing an election where he lost by over 300,000 votes. It's like claiming you lost a marathon because someone tripped you in the last inch of the race. So there you have it, folks. Trump's massive fraud turned out to be about as real as his university's diplomas. But hey, at least he's keeping the tinfoil industry in business. Next time you hear Trump ranting about stolen elections, just remember, in Trump land, losing fair and square is apparently a foreign concept. It's like he's playing a game where the rules change every time he's about to lose. Sorry, Donnie, but in the real world, we call that being a sore loser. Well, folks, we've just taken a wild ride through Trumpland, where facts are optional and reality is whatever you want it to be. Trump's chat with Joe Rogan was less of a truth bomb and more of a truth dud. It's like he's playing pin the tail on the donkey, but instead of a donkey, it's facts, and he's not even in the right room. So next time you hear Trump spouting off some wild claim, remember, fact-checking is your BFF. It's like having a BS detector in your pocket. As one smart cookie put it, in an era of misinformation, critical thinking and fact-checking are more important than ever. Stay informed, stay skeptical, and maybe keep a laugh track handy for future Trump interviews. After all, in Trumpland, the truth is just a suggestion, but in the real world, it's kind of a big deal.